So I have resorted to baking again because obviously I've done my hair, I've done my makeup, I showered. I know, so exciting. I've organized all of the things. I've decorated things in my house. And I'm back to having to do something with carbs. Because carbs make you feel good, especially during pandemics. So, going to make some carbs. Today I'm going to make potato dill bread. It is delicious. Don't judge me. Come along, make some of your own. I'm sure you have the majority of this stuff. If you don't have it, the next time that you do a run, you can get some dill. Pretty much everything else you probably have. Unless it's yeast. You might have to do some things for some yeast. But let's make some bread. Okay, so this recipe only calls for like 4 tablespoons of dill. You can never have enough dill. So I literally have like 2 tablespoons of dry dill, but I am all of the fresh dill. So I'm going to remove this from the stalks. I'm going to chop that up really fine. Also, it says in this recipe that we're going to use 2 medium russet potatoes peeled and cut into rounds. So let me give you an example because this is stupid easy. That's a round. You're going to cut your potatoes into rounds and then you're going to boil them. And then once you're boiled, you're going to save your water, at least 2 cups of water, and let it cool to warm because you're going to put your yeast in that, and that needs to be at about 110 degrees, so keep it warm-ish. But keep your mashed potatoes to the side. So I also am going to add 8 tablespoons. 8 tablespoons of melted butter to my potato mixture, and I'm probably going to salt my potato water because you should. So let me go do all of that. I'm going to do it on a hyperlapse so you can enjoy the fun of watching. Because, I mean, you know you do. Or you don't. But you probably have nothing better to do. So you can watch me do that. And then we'll move on to the actual bread portion. But you gotta have potato water. So you're probably thinking, that lady just told me to use 2 medium russet potatoes and cut them up, and she just did 3. I did, but I also like my potato water to be a little bit starchier, give it a little bit more of that flavor, and also I knew that my potatoes were a little on the small side, they were a little scrawny. So I did 3, 2 medium-ish and 1 smaller. So that is why, yes, I can count. Okie dokie, so my starch water, my potato water is finally cooled enough. We're at about 111 degrees. You need it around 110-ish, 112 in there. So we're fine. I am adding a little bit of sugar to mine and then literally just adding my yeast. So I put about 2 tablespoons of sugar and I have 2 envelopes of yeast in here. Just gonna let it get foamy. And here come my children, thundering in the house.
Mom, can we have a water bottle?
I don't have any more water bottles. Drink water from the sink. Just had to grab myself a little whisk, give it a little zhuzh in the water, and we're gonna go ahead and let that get frothy. Because, you know, just gotta do that. Let our bread get good. In the meantime, I have approximately 7 cups of flour, plus a little bit of extra for kneading, for adding to the bowl if it's sticking. And then I have my salt. I have 4 teaspoons of salt, or 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon. So either or. Just go ahead and add that to your flour mix and put that into your mixer with your bread dough hook. And then once our yeast water is ready, I'm going to, right before that, I'm going to add our cooled mashed potatoes with the butter. And again, that was approximately, I would suggest starting, because I understand how my recipe works and how it turns out. I used about 2.5 worth of russet potatoes, salted the water, and I have 8 tablespoons of melted butter in here. So as soon as this is ready, I will add this directly to my salted flour, and that's just all-purpose flour. And then we will slowly get that kneading with the potatoes in it, and then add our water. And then we're gonna knead that or mix it for about 2 minutes on low, and then about 8 minutes on medium. Let that knead. Now, mind you, if this doesn't start like pulling away from the bowl the way that it should, to make a dough, add a little bit of flour, 1 tablespoon at a time, until it starts to pull away from the sides. It's gonna stick to the bottom because that's just what it's supposed to do. But to get it until it pulls away from the sides, just a little bit at a time, okay? And then we'll hyperlapse that. When we're done with that, literally the only other thing that we have to do is knead in by hand all of our amazing, delicious dill, which I could probably literally sit here and huff this all day. Absolutely love the smell of dill. And then we're gonna divide this in half. I'm gonna put it in 2 separate bowls. I'm gonna spray them with non-stick cooking spray, lightly cover them and let them rise for 60 to 90 minutes until they're approximately doubled in size. But I'm gonna put them by my oven where I have dinner cooking, because the heat in the room, it's a little chillier in here, so we're gonna let that rise. And then we will be off to the fun part. Okay, so our bread dough has now risen and doubled in size. Ah, it's huge. It's lovely. So we're gonna punch it down. And drop them out onto a floured surface. Knead them just a teeny tiny bit.
Yep.
My helpers over here. Knead them just a tiny bit, and then roll them into bread loaf pan sized rectangles.
Yep.
These are greased.
Yep.
And we're going to pinch the seam closed along the bottom all the way so that it will stay closed, and then set it into our pans seam side down, then lightly spray our cling film again and cover our pans. And then we're gonna let them rest again and rise in a warm place in my kitchen for 45 to 75 minutes until they're doubled in size again. Once they're doubled in size again, we'll come back and I'll show you the next step. Okay, so these are ready to go in the oven. The next thing we need to do is just take off our cling film. We're just gonna brush them with a little bit of butter and then spray them with a little bit of water. I got this at Hobby Lobby, I think, in the art department. It has a super fine mist. I use it for putting fondant on the cakes, things like that. You can put grain alcohol in it, things like that. It's absolutely fabulous for decorating. So we're just gonna brush it with butter, put them in the oven, but before we do that, we'll spray with a little bit of water, about 40 to 50 minutes until the internal temperature reaches about 200 degrees. And then we'll have delicious bread. And so this is our finished loaf. I didn't pinch my seam really great right there, so you end up with this, but that's okay. It still tastes amazing. The top's a little bit wrinkly because it was put in a Ziploc last night and the moisture kind of did some things to it, but you can see all those beautiful little bits of dill in there, and we'll go ahead and cut a slice and let you see, but it is incredibly soft. Super, super soft. Super, super soft. And absolutely friggin' delicious. So excited. So excited.